there are these 100 prisoners, and the warden says that, okay, I'll give you a chance to escape, but some of you might also die. Okay, but some of you can escape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all of you stand in a line, a single line. Okay, and I'm going to place a cap on each of your head. Right. So, are you aware of this problem?
Yeah, I've heard.
Can you complete the problem?
So it will be, I think, one of 2 colors, and if you have to guess the color of the hat on your head. If it's wrong, you get shot. If everyone gets it right, then they are allowed to go free.
No, whoever gets it right are allowed to go free.
No. They all have to get it right, I think, to go free. Okay, I think there are multiple versions.
Yeah. So
how do you maximize? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Not for this version. Yeah. So how many people can be saved is the question.
Okay. I remember working on this long time back. Let me. So 2 colors only, right?
Yeah. So white or black, and each other person should say either white or black.
Okay, and they can only see the people in front of them, not
correct.
Not their own and not behind them. Okay.
Correct.
This has to do with group theory.
Can be, but yeah, the next level of this problem is yes.
Okay. So in the worst case, 99 people can be saved. Each person, the first person sacrifices his life and tells the color of prisoner number 2, color of the cap of prisoner number 2.
Say it again.
Instead of telling the color of his own cap, but how will the next person get that? Okay. Sorry. Okay, in that case, 50 is the worst case. Okay. There's nothing like equal number of both. Nothing like that, right? It's just that there will be at least one white and at least one black. That's it.
Oh, even that we do not know.
So it could be all white or all black.
Everything is possible.
Oh. Okay.
Is it possible? So you have seen how to save 50 people, right? Like, can you save one person more than that 51?
And the prisoners can know the result of what the previous prisoners say, right? If they get shot or not, that is available.
Correct. Yes. So Shravana, the last N people, when they are doing this operation, are they excluding that group or they're including that group?
Excluding. First N people.
Okay. So they're excluding themselves. Why can't they include themselves? Okay. But you can save more people than this.
Is it?
Yes. The answer is a bit surprising, actually. Yeah.
I think I have a way to save 99 people.
Wow. How is that?
I think. So the first person. I'm doing the same mistake again. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it should still be possible. Yeah. So the first person will count the number of black hats in front of him. If it's a even number, he will say black. If it's odd, he will say white. So he will die, whatever. whatever happens, he will die. But the next person, second person,
Oh, he may live half of the time.
he might, yeah. But since we are dealing with, like in the worst case, how many can we say? So assuming that he dies. Then the second person can look at the remaining and decide whether his cap is black or white. By keeping track of the previous deaths, every successive person can also keep track and determine whether his cap is black or white. I think. I actually didn't check for this keeping track.
Yeah, keeping track. How do we keep track?
Yeah. So from what the first person said, everyone will know whether there are a total of odd or even number black caps. Now, when the second person says either black or white, based on that, and the rest that they're able to see in front of him, the third person can determine what his color is. So each prisoner has to keep a count, basically keep that parity of odd even, what is left. And when it comes to him, based on what is supposed to be there, what he sees in front of him, he can decide what's on his head.
Okay. Yeah. So like this, 99 people can be saved, huh? Okay.
So it looks like that. Yeah, Paka. Yeah.
Right. So, do you see any extension of this problem?
If there are 3 colors. Yeah.
It becomes very messy, right? No? So, Shravan, these 2 questions were posed to me by a Princeton professor who come to IISc. He is a student of a very well-known information theorist named Thomas Cover. I don't know if you have heard of him. No. So PhD, this professors, they arrive meeting time with their students.
Right.
Yeah, they meet them and they discuss. So here it is always group meetings with Thomas Cover. And Paul Koff, yeah, his name is Paul Koff, the professor whom I'm talking about, whom I met. So he was also like one of the students, and he had lots of students. So how his meeting went was, each student would get a time of, I think, 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. They don't have to talk about their research problem. Okay, they have to talk about something that interests everyone. So if Tom Cover finds it not interesting, he'll immediately stop them and ask the next person to talk.
Oh, okay.
This was his custom. And so everyone, to attract Tom Cover's attention, right? They used to come up with these kind of puzzles and problems.
Okay.
So they would consider it a great achievement if Tom Cover gave a full hearing, and he thinks he and of course the other students think about the puzzle they have posed. So it's like every week they would be like looking forward to this meeting time. Yeah.
So I have a conjecture that with 3 colors, 98 people can be saved. It's a conjecture. So the first person will tell, so there are 3 remainders, 0, 1, 2. So he will indicate for 1 color, yeah, for C1, the remainder with 3, he will indicate that by giving one of the colors. So C1, C2, C3 are remainders 0, 1, 2. So he will tell for C1 what is the remainder. For the second person, for C2, he will tell what is the remainder. And then the rest of them, I'm thinking, can use that to save themselves. By keeping
that's what I also told.
Oh, okay. Oh, you typed it already.
So she has slightly increased 1 more person. She has not taken C1 to CN, but C1 to CN-1.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I didn't say that
Ah.
+1. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So okay, so with this first, the last n-1 people we do not know, but the others can save themselves. Pakka.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I
That is
think
surprising, actually.
wait, still wait. There's a lot more to be surprised. You can
Okay.
do better than this.
How
Oh,
better?
seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much better?
How much better? You can save the 99 people,
Oh,
With N colors.
regardless of the number of girls.
what the hell?
Okay.
It sounds very counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very counterintuitive. Yeah. Extremely counterintuitive. 99 people can be saved.
I think if we do this sum of mods, then we map it to each of those. I think then we'll be able to save all the other except one people.
Sum of mods means?
So if the remainders are say 000 or 222 or 012 210 120, they all if we sum all those, then if we do mod again, then we'll get 0. So like this, we'll get again 3 different mods for which there'll be certain possible set of mods. I think using this information, each person should be able to determine what they are wearing.
Okay, so how will this save all the others?
So if there are equal number of hats, so the 100% is watching, and if all the number of hats of each color are same, then the mods will be either 000 or 222 or 111. So
Wait. So when you say this 000, what do you mean by that?
oh wait, yeah, here, yeah, just a second.
Right, Shravan, can you rephrase this in using group terminology?
Or what group terminology?
Ah,
I don't remember group terminology.
okay. So then using that, the next person can know what is wearing and so on, right? So this. Okay. Right. Each person can clear the mod of. Oh, right. But in fact, people can do something better than this. Of course. So you're given a scheme to save all but one. Okay, but the amount of task for each person can be optimized. Can you see how?
Yeah, I mean, they need not calculate. Each person need not calculate. They can just subtract from the previous.
Exactly. So this is what I meant.
Yeah.
This notion of subtraction or the additive inverse, right?
Yes, that's
right. So in fact, if you phrase the first solution with black and white solution in this Zn using this Zn, right? Then the solution for n colors also will just follow, right?
Yes.
Directly. Correct. Right. So yeah, this aids in thinking. Another great puzzle in this line, which we again did for open day, but this is a little more tricky one. So there is this again. We go to the prison. There's a prisoner and there's a warden. Okay. So the warden says, "Okay, I give you a chance to escape." Okay. So there are two prisoners this time, and warden. And he says, "I'll give you a chance to escape, but if you fail, both of you will die immediately." They agree. So basically, this is the test. you have this 8x8 chessboard. Okay, 8x8 chessboard. And what the warden will do is he will take 64 coins. Okay, 64 coins. And he will place one coin on each of the square. Or each of the small cell, he will place one coin. Now, he could either place it head up or tail up. That is up to him. Okay, fine. Then, after, okay, right. So, when he's placing this, there are two prisoners, right? One prisoner will be inside, and only one prisoner will be seeing what the warden is placing. So, prisoner 1 is seeing first. Okay, and the warden places the coins either heads up or tails up as he wishes, and then he will point to one of the square. Okay, he will point to one of the square in the chessboard. Say he will point out to say D2 or something. He'll just point this. Now P2 is not here. The prisoner 2 is not here. Basically, prisoner 1 has to convey this information D2 to prisoner 2 without talking. Okay, but he can do one thing. What he can do is he can pick one of the coins in the board and just flip it. If it is heads up, he can make it tails up. If it is tails up, he can make it heads up. This is all is allowed to do. Okay. Now, after doing this, prisoner 1 should go away, and prisoner 2 should come and look at the board and exactly tell what the warden has chosen. The cell which the warden has chosen. If he is not correctly saying, both are killed. Do you think this is even possible to do?
I had come across something similar. Yeah.
So something like parity, no, in communications.
Yeah, that error correcting code or something like that.
Correct. CRC. Correct.
No, it's not as simple as you think.
Huh?
No, it's not. Yeah, error correct. Yeah, this is kind of, it's not error correcting. Something that like that.
Okay.
So just talk about the implication of being able to save 99 people, irrespective of the number of colors. So even if you have 100 colors, then 99 can be saved.
Maybe by applying it recursively. With n colors, so the number of people with color 1 mod n, so on we take, right? So that will give 0 to n minus 1 values. So again, this is n. We can treat them again as n colors. So apply the same logic over that again.
I just trying to visualize this. So you have, okay, so now you have n or n minus 1?
So n minus 1 will be there, right?
Okay, n minus 1. So now you have again n minus 1 people with n colors. Okay, correct. Now is it the same way? Okay, yeah. Then?
Yeah, we have n minus 1 values. We have n minus 1, values in the range of 0 to n minus 1. So I'm saying we can apply the same logic again on that. That how many times the remainder 0 occurs, how many times the remainder 1 occurs. It's similar to the colors of the hat. So on, go on extracting the value like that.
Extracting the value. The recursion that you told, yeah, okay, now I'm able to visualize that. But the n-1 values and the n-1 hat values will not be the same, right? So the important thing is to capture the hat values of these people, right? Rather than the value they would compute.
Okay.
Right now, but yeah, but recursively applying it was a great thinking, very daring thinking.
I'm out of ideas, so have to dare.
Wow.
So someone was saying something about adding. I tried that; it's not working. I'm out of ideas basically.
Shall I give you a hint?
Yeah.
Okay, so in fact, what I will do is I will give the first solution, the solution for two colors. I will put that solution in group theoretic sense. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So see, so we have white and black. Okay.
Right.
Right. So I will assign a 0 to black and a 1 to white.
Right.
Right. Let the so now we have this basically this Z2, right? Yes, what's the big deal? Yeah, 0 and 1 is Z2, right? And there's 100 people, let their colors be X1, X2 till X99 and X100. So these are the colors. It could be black, white, white, and so on. Right? So what you said is X100 is calculating if it is even, is doing something. If it is odd, is saying something.
Yeah.
Right. So can I convert that into some group operation? So once you have operation and once you have the structure of equation, right, it becomes a very powerful tool. So we'll just take 5 colors. And,
Sum mod 2.
Sum mod 2, right? So since this is a group addition with this is not our usual plus, we'll just leave that mod 2. Yeah, we know that it is mod 2, right? But we'll just keep this as x1 plus x2 all the way till x99.
Yeah.
So x100 calculates this and tells this value.
Yeah.
Right. So now what can x9? So now x99 knows this sum. Right now, what can S99 do? What group operation can S99 do? So can the 99th person do to get his color?
Subtract the remaining that he sees in front of him. So the sum x1 plus x2 to x98.
Right. Exactly. So if you take S99
minus S98,
you would get X99.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And each person, so the kth person will know the sum Sk. Okay. And you just subtract Sk minus 1 and you would get Xk.
Okay.
Right. So this is same as what you told, but we are looking at this in this group framework. This is Z2 framework. Right. So now it gets
Can this be extended to all ends?
So how can we extend it to n colors? No.
Yeah, the same logic will work with n also. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So whenever we are having this equation structure with an operation, right? Then we can take inverse. We can move it from here to here. There's another example which shows that it's a very powerful tool. It as a whole. Alright, so now this question is like taking it to the next level.
Okay.
Another question, which of course can be solved without this framework, but when this question, I think without this framework, it is very, very difficult. So the question is clear right here.
Yeah. So the warden chooses one square and we have to convey that.
Before that, placing of coins.
The coins are placed with heads up or tails up. Warden chooses a square. He
No,
does not flip it.
warden doesn't choose. I think the prisoner chooses which to flip.
No. The warden chooses.
Oh,
Warden
warden chooses.
chooses a square, but prisoner 1 has to choose which coin to flip so that he can convey to P2 what that square is.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I
Exactly.
understood the question. Okay.
Right, yeah. So when I saw this question for the first time, I thought it is impossible. With just one coin flip, how can you convey such a complicated information in this 8x8 board, two-dimensional board, right? But then we have seen that 5-card magic trick, right? And we have seen these questions also. So basically, try to see what are all the tools that you can use to convey the information, okay? And see if you can nicely model it. So once you do these two, then the solution will become at least visible.
So P2 does not even know which coin has been flipped because he has not seen the original configuration.
Exactly. P2 doesn't even know which coin is flipped. He doesn't know the initial state. Nothing. He just comes and sees the board.
Okay.
Got it right?
Yeah.
I think if we take the mod of each row and each column, and then concatenate all the mods for the rows and concatenate all the mods for columns, then we'll get two numbers. And if we add these two numbers and do the mod of that whole 64, then we'll get some number. I think we can use that number to denote.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, possible. Yeah, so how will you use that? And the warden can choose, yeah, this is one approach, yes.
The warden can choose any this thing, but yeah, I'm saying which can we always convey that are not possible.
Correct. Yeah, that needs to be analyzed. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, I would have so with the bit flip, I am either adding or subtracting some power of 2 when I'm making that numbers.
Okay.
So I think with this we can convey any number is what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'll have to check once.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So how can you convey? Yeah. How does this model convey any number? That is a question, right?
So we will have a range of 0 to 2 power n in the row this thing, and also column this thing, right? So
right.
Then we would have the power to change any of the bits and add or subtract any 2 power I, where I is between 0 and n.
Okay.
So with this, we can get all 0 to 64.
So yeah, the row vector and the column vector. Okay, if you just take the row vector, you can make the row vector any number you want. You're saying that.
No. So I'm saying with the row vector, if I modify, I can modify any of the 64 squares or any of the 8 rows, and I can change the row vectors value either by plus or minus 2 power I, where I is between 0 and n.
Correct. Okay.
The same applies to column vector also.
Wait. So now the claim is you can reach from any initial row vector to any other row vector by just a single coin flip. Is it? Not necessarily.
No.
Right? Sometimes you might have two binary representations which differ in more than one bit, right?
Yeah.
The Hamming distance could be more than one. This is a really beautiful problem. Yeah.